Welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 275, Feelings versus Facts. The facts are, no matter how much we love someone and care about them, sooner or later they're going to really tick us off, make us crazy, make us want to lose all our cool. This applies to our family, to our good friends, to our spouse, and definitely this one applies to our children. I recently moved and I had a great deal of one of my son's things to handle because he is overseas and not able to do it himself. But he was in the United States for a while and he could have done some of it, but he did not choose to do that. I won't surmise the reasons. I'll just tell you, if he would have been in the room, I might have slapped him. And I told him that too. So the facts are, I really love my son. The facts are, he is a great man, a good man, a decent man. But it didn't change my feeling of frustration and anger at the time when I had to deal with a whole lot of that he left there intentionally for me to handle. What in the world do you do with all that feeling? Because honestly, though you might know the facts, it doesn't change the feelings. And the feelings are what you have to deal with. You have to deal with your own, and very, very truthfully, you do have to do it with your children's. 3-year-olds don't know how to deal with their feelings. So the facts might be they broke their toy themselves being careless, but their feelings are, it's so unfair. I loved that toy. How did this happen? You must not love me if you're not going to go right out and replace it tomorrow, even though it's the consequences of their own foolish actions. Their feelings and the facts may not have much to do with each other, and you do have to deal with their feelings. So let's talk about this a little while. I'm going to say this to you. I'd like to believe that all of us have such a good control over our emotions that in spite of how we feel, we aren't going to act badly or stupidly. I'd like to believe that. But having done so much counseling and having had a great deal of exposure to literally thousands of human beings around the globe, I know better. Often people act on the basis of their feelings without even being willing to look at the facts and without getting a hold of or handling their own feelings. It's kind of a tragedy, but it is a stark reality in many people's worlds. So my first question for you today is, how are you doing at handling your own feelings? If you're not even handling your own, you certainly aren't capable of teaching your child to handle his or hers. If you're doing okay at handling your own, you don't fly off the handle in a rage, even though you're feeling rage on the inside. You're not screaming and pitching a massive hissy fit in the grocery store when you're really frustrated behind this person who has 3 items, but they don't know how to do self-checkout. So you've already been standing there for like 8 or 10 minutes when you would have been out there 15 minutes ago if they would just get their self out of your way. Yeah, so are you going off on this person, acting inhuman, cussing and throwing stuff and being a complete jerk, or do you have a hold of your feelings? These are really fair questions because I see people every single day who do not. And so when you don't, you certainly can't teach it to your children. As I say, you can't give away what you do not have. If you do not have any self-control, if you do not have any exercise over your emotions, and your emotional state is constantly driving you, you can't possibly teach your child anything about how to deal with their feelings. Not yet, anyway. And as you know, I believe there's hope. And so you can still keep working on this. You can keep growing in this skill set. You can develop some control over what's going on with you emotionally, and certainly over the outpouring of actions in response to all of those feelings. And that is the goal, because you're going to experience those things. The question is not will you, it is when will you and how will you handle it. Okay? All right, so I'm going to tell you about a person that I know who really and truly has had a lot of difficulty within their family in the last year. Horrible, terrible, awful stuff. False accusations, loss of employment, ruining the family dynamic at a massive level to 3 generations at least. I mean, some serious, serious stuff. And the person said to me, I just don't know what to do with all of this because it isn't fair, it isn't right. I still have all of this turmoil in me. What in the world? How in the world am I supposed to do this? That's a really fair question. It is. And I promise you that many kids, and especially I'd say 8 to 15-year-olds, not that older teenagers don't, but those particular years of hormonal influences and so much going crazy in their bodies and around them, and the way that preteens and early teens act toward one another, they're just so nasty sometimes. Yeah, those are horrific years. And kids have no idea what to do with all of those forces coming against them, and then all of the upheaval of what's going on inside of them. So I'm going to tell you a couple things. All of us need to be heard by whomever, somebody, somewhere, a friend, a teacher, a counselor, a pastor, a spouse, a parent, a kid, a somebody. We need to be heard. When I was younger, I had nobody. I can honestly tell you that. I did have some very good friends, but my life experience with my mom taking off with some dude and being left at my dad's, and the level of responsibility that I had to carry, taking care of our household, was a lot different than most of my friends whose moms dealt with stuff and they had a reasonably stable household. I couldn't really tell them, and I didn't feel comfortable telling them. I was really thrilled, and I can say this to you, that God was my friend. And I talked to God on a very regular basis about what was going on with me, how I felt, the way it was to me. I really did. I talked to him a great deal. And what do you know? I still do. I'm still glad he is my very best friend. Hopefully you will be that person to your children, to your spouse, to your friends, to your family members. And somebody in that mix is going to be that person to you. So that when you have all this sorrow, you have all this frustration, you have this anger, you have this anxiety, you have this fear, there is someone with whom you can talk. Because I think it's really vital to get it out. No emotion bottled up inside of us is ever going to do us any good. It can literally cause us to have a heart attack, a severe panic attack. It can literally make us get fatter and fatter because cortisol, the stress hormone, is just going to really do horrible, terrible, bad things in your body, give you high blood pressure, make you have a stroke. It's not a joke. I'm telling you as a registered nurse, clinically, these things can kill you. You actually have some way to express these things and get them out of your system. It's healthy. I don't care if you go work out. That's a great physical way to dissipate certain things. You clean the house like a tornado. That's a good way to do it. You squall your guts out. You go out into the woods and scream and just pitch the most major fit where nobody except God and the squirrels is going to be watching you. You need to do something. And if you are able to speak about it and process it verbally, that is also a great alternative. You need to do something with all that emotion, not bottle it up and leave it deep inside of you where it ultimately will make you sick or kill you. You need to let your children know your feelings are neither good nor bad. They are your feelings, and you need to express them. You may not express them disrespectfully. I hate your blank diddy blank guts. No, you can't say that to me. Now, you can say to me, I really hate you today. My kids have both said that to me at various points in their life. That was fine. They weren't disrespectful. They weren't mean. They didn't cuss me. They said, I really hate you today. I said, yeah, I get that. I do. You didn't like what I said. You didn't like the fact that you had to live with the consequences of your actions when I told you not to do something. I get it. You hate me today. I can stand it. Because hate is the other side of love. You can only hate someone when you really, 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 really love them. I get that. That's not threatening. But you got to be able to say and get out of your body and out of your soul what's going on in there with all those feelings. You also have to learn there's a long line between what you feel and what you do. You don't, just because you're mad, break stuff and tear things apart and tear up your relationships by being evil in every single thing you ever say to a person. Every bad thought you ever had about them comes pouring out of your mouth, and most of them, maybe half of them, you don't even mean, but you're so ticked you're going to say it all. Yeah, that's not okay. That's not appropriate. That's learning to get a hold of your own emotional state and owning your emotions without being destructive to yourself or to someone else. Usually, when a person's right in the middle of the force of their emotions, it's not going to do any good to give them facts. But oftentimes, after some of that emotional force has dissipated, it is a good time to look at the facts. So, you need to have a good balance here, especially in your significant relationships, of how I'm really feeling, and I respect that, and where the facts sit. And sometimes they're pretty far apart, and it might take a good bit of communication and negotiation to get them to come together so that the facts and the feelings have some relevance to each other in a particular situation. I want to encourage you. Your kids need to know that you love them so very much. They can tell you how they're really feeling, and it isn't a threat to you. And your kids need to know that they love you enough, especially when they're older teenagers or adults. You can tell them how you really feel, and they can handle that too. But that real challenging age wherein we were talking, you need to let them know, no matter how intense, no matter how, I'll use the word unreasonable, your emotions might be. Never do anything permanent about a temporary situation. We can get through anything as long as you're willing to talk with me about it and let me help you. I am really and truly saddened and appalled at the numbers of and kinds of suicides that are going on globally with people who have lost all hope for various reasons: economic difficulties, illness with COVID, family situations. In our families, that's the one place we have some power for sure. We need to let the people know that we love, that we are there for them, that we always will be there for them, that we are willing to listen to them express their feelings, even the what we might perceive of as negative ones, that we are always going to work through things together. Those are the hard facts. I will be here. I love you. I am always going to be here with you. You can depend on me. I hope that this has really helped you and your family today. Have a great day together. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.